I'm going to talk a little bit tonight about my favorite poem, which is The Love Song of Alfred Prufrock by T S Eliot. And I'm going to talk a little bit about what I think the poem means, what the poem means to me, and then I'm going to try and recite it from memory. It's a pretty long poem, so I do have a little bit of reference here, so if you see my eyes going over here and you see me fiddling around, it's because I'm looking. So, The Love Song of Alfred Prufrock is about an old man who is looking back on his life and seeing the decisions that he's made and the things that he's done, and he sees that he was always too afraid to approach the women that he wanted to approach, afraid to ask the questions that he wanted to ask, afraid to do the things that he wanted to do because of the fear of rejection or things not working out. He was afraid that he was afraid of what they would think of him, what they would say about him. He felt like he knew these people already. He was a good judge of people, and he already knew what they would say about him. He already knew what they would think. He already knew the kind of person these people were, and he never tried to do the things that he wanted to do. He never tried to approach the women that he wanted to approach. And now he's seeing that he's an old man with nothing but a bald spot in the middle of his head to show for it. And he's thinking, would it have been worth it to have gone up to them and introduced myself, talked to them? Would it have been worth it to have tried and failed, rather than be looking back now and thinking, what if it had worked? And realizing that, of course, it didn't work. Of course, nothing ever worked out because he never tried. And so when I first read the poem, I realized that I was J. Alfred Prufrock. I was afraid to approach women. I was afraid to talk to new people. I was afraid of what they would think of me. I was afraid of what they would say about me. And I'd see a beautiful woman, and I'd think, oh, what should I say to her? What's she gonna think of me? Is she gonna like me? Will she, just tell me to go away? So, I would always overthink it, and, I had no confidence in myself, and I didn't try, so I never knew. And so, this, of all the art that I've ever read or listened to or watched or whatever, is the only thing that has ever changed my life in some significant way. So, it's a very important poem to me, and it's the reason that it's my favorite poem. And I actually got my first tattoo last week, and it is a quote from The Love Song of Alfred Prufrock, and it is, "And indeed there will be time to wonder, do I dare, and do I dare?" So, I thought, if I'm going to get something tattooed on my arm, it's going to be there for the rest of my life. I should probably know at least most of it by heart, right? So, I'm going to do the best I can to recite the entire poem from memory for you now. And I hope that you enjoy my reading, my recitation of the poem. Let us go then, you and I, when the evening is spread out against the sky like a patient etherized upon a table. Let us go through certain half-deserted streets, the muttering retreats of restless nights in one-night cheap hotels, and sawdust restaurants with oyster shells, streets that follow like a tedious argument of insidious intent, to lead you toward an overwhelming question. Oh, do not ask what is it. Let us go and make our visit. In the room the women come and go, talking of Michelangelo. The yellow smoke that rubs its muzzle on the window panes, the yellow smoke that rubs its back upon the window panes, licked its tongue into the corners of the evening, lingered upon the pools that stand in drains, let fall upon its back the soot that falls from chimneys, slipped by the terrace, made a sudden leap, and seeing that it was soft October night, curled once about the house and fell asleep. And indeed there will be time for the yellow smoke that slides along the streets, rubbing its back upon the window panes. There will be time to prepare a face to meet the faces that you'll meet. There will be time to murder and create. And time for all the works of days of hands that lift and drop a question on your plate. Time for you, and time for me, and time yet for 100 indecisions, and for 100 visions and revisions before the taking of a toast and tea. In the room the women come and go, talking of Michelangelo. And indeed there will be time to wonder, do I dare, and do I dare? Time to turn back and descend the stair with a bald spot in the middle of my hair. They will say, how his hair is growing thin. My morning coat, my collar, mounting firmly to the chin, my necktie, rich and modest, but asserted by a simple pin. They will say, how his arms and legs are thin. Do I dare disturb the universe? In a minute there is time for decisions and revisions which a minute will reverse. For I have known them all already, known them all. Have known the mornings, evenings, afternoons. I have measured out my life with coffee spoons. I know the voices dying with a dying fall beneath the music from a farther room. And so how should I presume? For I have known the eyes already, known them all. The eyes that fix you in a formulated phrase. And when I am formulated, when I am pinned and wriggling on the wall, then how should I begin to spit out all the butt ends of my days and ways? And how should I begin? For I have known the arms already, known them all, the arms that are braceleted and white and bare, but in the lamplight downed with light brown hair. Is it perfume from a dress that makes me so digress? Arms that lie along a table or wrap about a shawl? And should I then presume, and how should I begin? Shall I say, I have gone at dusk through narrow streets, and watched the smoke that rises from the pipes of lonely men in shirt-sleeves leaning out of windows? I should have been a pair of ragged claws scuttling across the floors of silent seas. In the afternoon, the evening sleeps so peacefully, smoothed by long fingers, asleep, tired, or it malingers, stretched on the floor here beside you and me. Should I, after tea and cakes and ices, have the strength to force the moment to its crisis? But though I have wept and fasted, wept and prayed, though I have seen my head grown slightly bald, brought in upon a platter, I am no prophet, and here's no great matter. I have seen the moment of my greatness flicker, and I have seen the eternal footman hold my coat and snicker. And in short, I was afraid. And would it have been worth it, after all? Would it have been worthwhile, after the teacups, among some porcelain, among some talk of you and me? Would it have been worthwhile to have bitten off the matter with a smile, to have squeezed the universe into a ball, to roll it towards some overwhelming question, to say, I am Lazarus, come back from the dead, come back to tell you all, I shall tell you all, if one, settling a pillow by her head, should say, that is not it at all, that is not what I meant at all. would it have been worth it after all? After the novels, after the teacups, after the dooryards and the sprinkled streets, after the skirts that trail along the floor, and this and so much more? It is impossible to say just what I mean, but as if a magic lantern threw the nerves and patterns on a screen. Would it have been worth it? If one, settling a pillow or throwing off a shawl, should say, and turning toward the window should say, "That is not it at all. That is not what I meant at all. No, I am not Prince Hamlet, nor was meant to be. I'm an attendant lord, one that will do to swell a progress, start a scene or two, advise the prince, no doubt, an easy tool, differential, politic, glad to be of use, cautious and meticulous, full of high sentence, but a bit obtuse, almost indeed ridiculous, almost at times the fool. I grow old. I grow old. I shall wear the bottoms of my trousers rolled. Shall I part my hair behind? Do I dare to eat a peach? I shall wear white flannel trousers and walk upon the beach. I have heard the mermaids singing each to each. I do not think that they will sing to me. I have seen them riding seaward on the waves, combing the white hair of the waves blown back, when the wind blows the water white and black. We have lingered in the chambers of the sea, by sea-girls wreathed in seaweed red and brown, till human voices wake us and we drown. I know I messed that up just a little bit in a couple of places, but I didn't use my reference at all. I actually recited all of that from memory, so I hope you liked it. Thanks.